In this video, I'm going to go over my top 5 supplements for women in their 30s. And I know, supplementation can be a very controversial subject, which is why I did an entire video on that topic, giving my personal professional opinion of why I recommend them. So go check that out when you get done watching this one. But without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. I am Dr. Renee, a double board certified doctor with over 20 years experience working with women. And before we get into the content of this video, I just want to remind you that I put it out for informational and educational purposes only. I'm not your doc, so before you start any new supplements, please check with your own personal doctor before beginning them. So I do have my favorite supplements for women in certain age groups. And while I do prefer to strategically supplement my clients based on their own personal needs, we do specialty testing that tells me exactly what their body needs. I know, number one, if you're watching this video, you're probably not working one-on-one with me. And number two, some women actually cannot afford this testing. So what I did is I compiled my top 5 supplements that I tend to recommend over and over for women in their 30s. Supplement number 1, B-complex. I find this deficient in most women that I work with for a few reasons. Number 1, stress. Stress depletes our body of B vitamins. Number 2, diet. Now, if you are eating a highly processed and packaged diet, then yes, of course, it's depleted of a lot of nutrients. But maybe you're watching this video and you're like, Doc, I eat a whole food diet. I hate to break it to you, but it's probably devoid of a lot of nutrients, including the B vitamins, for a few reasons. Number 1, our soil is depleting a lot of nutrients. And number 2, if you live in a place like me where most of my food comes from across the country, that food sitting on that truck while it's waiting to get to me is losing its nutrition every single day. And number 3, many women in this age group are actually on oral contraceptive pills, OCPs, which are notorious for depleting our body of B vitamins. So why are B vitamins important? They help with stress. They also help with energy and the production of something called neurotransmitters. Now, these are chemicals in our body that actually help us feel more motivated, rewarded, relaxed, happier, all the things we all want to feel, right? So you got to make sure you get your B vitamins in there. And one of the most common side effects I hear when a woman starts a B complex supplement is a flush. Now, this is actually from the vitamin B3, also known as niacin. And while this side effect is not dangerous, it is definitely bothersome. So in an attempt to avoid this side effect, consider taking your B complex with either food or lots of water. Supplement 2, vitamin D. Once again, I tend to find most women deficient in this unless one of 2 scenarios. Number 1, they live in a warm weather climate where they're outside bathing in the sun most days of the year without sunscreen. Or number 2, they're taking a supplement. Now, I know most of us are inside on our computer, or even if we do go outside in the sunshine, we're taking precautions against skin cancer and using sunscreen, which prevents the absorption of vitamin D. So most likely, if you fit into that scenario, you may be deficient in vitamin D. And once again, I do love food sources of many of these nutrients, but let's be honest, most women in their 30s are not getting adequate dietary intake of vitamin D. Why is vitamin D important? Well, you may know the benefits to bone health, but vitamin D is also really important for our mood, for our immune system, and for inflammation. So if your vitamin D is low, you may actually find yourself getting sick more often. That's from the immune system. It may find increased inflammation in your body. Maybe your mood's a little bit off. And so you definitely, if you have these symptoms or are in the risk factor category, you have to get your doctor to check your vitamin D level, to check what your status is and supplement accordingly. And if you have chronic kidney disease, you definitely want to work with a doctor before taking supplements. Number 3, we have magnesium. Once again, this is the nutrient that I find deficient in most women that I work with, which is why I have to recommend it. And again, it is deficient because of our nutrition quality. Again, if you have a whole food diet, most likely it is also deficient in magnesium, especially if you are consuming a highly packaged and processed diet. But number 2, stress depletes our body of magnesium. Magnesium has lots of benefits, including the production of energy and hormones. It helps regulate our mood, and it also serves as a natural anti-inflammatory and muscle relaxant. So if you are deficient in magnesium, you might be experiencing some muscle cramping or weakness. You might feel a little off in your mood, maybe you don't even have emotion, you lack emotion, or you maybe feel a little bit depressed. You might be tired. Maybe you have a little bit of an irregular heartbeat. When it comes to supplementing with magnesium, my favorite form is magnesium glycinate because two reasons. Number one, it actually tends to be better absorbed. And number two, it tends not to cause the usual gastrointestinal side effects, i.e. diarrhea, that some magnesium supplements may cause. With that being said, if you suffer from constipation, you may actually consider taking magnesium citrate at bedtime for two purposes. Number one, again, because it's a natural muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory, you will feel more relaxed to have a better night's sleep. But number two, the hopes are that you wake up the next morning having to go to the bathroom. Always check with your doctor before starting a magnesium supplement, especially if you take medication for high blood pressure. Next up, we have probiotics. So I find a lot of women in their 30s suffer from mood changes, whether that be increased stress, anxiety, maybe even depression. And when I see anything with mood changes, I always think of gut health. Now, what better way to help promote the healthy bacteria in our gut, but by taking a probiotic? 90% of our happy chemical called serotonin is actually produced in our gut. So we want to make sure that we have a healthy balance of the good gut bacteria and the not so good, so as to make sure that we are producing enough of this serotonin. Specifically, if you take a probiotic with bifidobacterium and lactobacillus and take it for 1 to 2 months, studies have shown that it improves such mood disorders as depression and anxiety. And I'm going to link that study below. Probiotics also help support a healthy immune system. And what I also find with women in their 30s is this is the age or the decade of life that they are having children. They have put off childbearing for personal and professional reasons. And now the 30s have come and they want to have kids. Well, I don't know. When my kids were little, they were bringing home every bug under the sun from preschool and kindergarten. And we want to make sure that mama has a robust immune system. So taking a probiotic will definitely help with that. Some common side effects that you might experience when first starting a probiotic include maybe gas or bloating. And generally these are self-limited, meaning they'll go away in a couple weeks. However, if they do persist, it may indicate a condition called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that you will definitely want to get checked out with your doctor. And you also want to use caution if you have a histamine intolerance. And last but not least, we have omega-3 fatty acids. Once again, I find women in their 30s tend to suffer from a lot more mood changes like depression and anxiety. And omega-3s actually have scientifically been shown to improve symptoms of both of these mood disorders. And again, I will link that study below. But we want to make sure that we're giving our body optimal levels of these nutrients in order to help promote our mood. And once again, like I said earlier, women in their 30s are tending to have the kids at a later age, putting it off to the 30s. And omega-3s actually have been shown to support the development of an infant's brain, which leads to higher intelligence in that child, lower risk of ADHD and autism. So we want to, and fewer behavioral problems. So we want to make sure that we are getting adequate omega-3s in our body. And again, you can get them in nutrition, but I always have a little caution if you get it mostly from fish, because we also then have to worry about the mercury content in fish. And that's a subject for a whole nother video. This is the decade of life also that women are starting to experience more menstrual problems, including increased menstrual pain. And omega-3s actually have been shown to alleviate menstrual pain and may actually be more effective than commonly used over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications such as ibuprofen. So if you want to get more bang for your buck, better pain relief, and be more natural, start an omega-3 fatty acid. So these are just a few of my favorite supplements for some of the common issues that I see in women in their 30s. And again, these are just my personal opinion of supplements. And I can choose other supplements aside from these top 5, especially if a woman has other symptoms or underlying medical conditions. But these, if we have to get the most bang for our buck, these are the ones that I would recommend. And again, check with your doctor before starting any new supplements. So you want to know exactly which ones to take? Well, then you might want to apply for a call and see if working with me one-on-one is a good fit for you so you can get that specialty testing done. You're not interested in working with me, but you want to try some of these supplements, but don't know where to get them? Definitely don't get them off of Amazon. I'm actually going to link below some of my favorite resources to get these particular supplements. And you might not be in your 30s, but you watched this entire video. Maybe you're in your 40s and your 50s and you said, what about me? Don't you worry, I got you covered in future videos. So that is all I have for you today. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe so you do not miss any of my future videos. Don't forget to apply for a call if you are interested in a consult with me, and I will see you next time.